Everyone. My name is Sheila Gold. I'm the Executive Director of Admissions for the Tulane School of Professional Advancement. I am joined by my colleague and friend, Dr. Halima Leek Francis, who is the Program Director for the MPA. And then behind the scenes is our other colleague, Ann Conlon, who is running the slides for us and also monitoring the chats. So just to let you all know, at the bottom of your screen, there is a chat function. If you have any questions during this webinar, we will have time to answer some questions towards the end. Just go ahead. So Anne just put a chat in the chat function. You should have seen it pop up. You can put your questions in there and we'll get a chance to answer those towards the end. So hopefully everybody will have a chance to get their questions answered. So we're going to go ahead and get going. I do see some more people are joining us, which is great. And I always say thank you to everybody for joining us. I know that this is the middle of a work day or school day for most of us. So I'm always honored when people take time out of their day to learn about our programs because we think they're fantastic and we enjoy sharing that with others. But we know this is an investment of time. So I'm going to share a little bit about the school and also a little bit about the admissions process. And in between those two things, Dr. Leek Francis is going to talk to you specifically about the MPA program. And then we'll turn it over to you all for a few questions. So just to let you all know a little bit about specifically the School of Professional Advancement, we are one of 9 schools that is located under the umbrella of Tulane University. Tulane itself was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. Ironically, it was founded as a reaction to the yellow fever epidemic that was happening in southern Louisiana. And the school was created to develop a response to help the citizens of New Orleans and Southeast Louisiana handle that pandemic. Here we are, fast forward to 2021. We are dealing with another pandemic, so our roots are relevant again today. But what's interesting for you all to know is that the School of Professional Advancement, under its first iteration, offered its first continuing education classes to the citizens of New Orleans in 1886, which is just 50 years after the founding of the larger university. And that is to say that our commitment to adult learners, to continuing education, and to our local community has been part of the fabric of the university since virtually its founding. So we have been educating adult learners for over 130 years. The School of Professional Advancement is the latest iteration of that commitment to our community and adult learners. And one of the ways that we have most sort of modernized that process is by developing really high quality online classes well before the pandemic ever hit. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. One of the hallmarks of the School of Professional Advancement is how flexible we are. We know that our students are juggling other commitments, whether it be a full-time or part-time job, home and family commitments. Maybe you're taking care of children or older adults in your family, as well as there might be other personal and professional commitments that you're pursuing. So we purposely have created a school where we offer flexible schedules and class times to students. That means many of our classes are offered in the evening time, so out of sort of traditional classroom times, as well as we started creating a rigorous online curriculum many years ago. We've been doing this, and we'll talk a little bit more, for many years. We also offer a tremendous amount of student support to our students. And why that's important to point out, most schools have advisors that you can use, but our school is particularly committed to our students not only successfully entering the university, which is where I as admissions come in, but also successfully completing their time at the university. So we really want our students to be able to navigate their educational goals while they're in SOPA and successfully graduate. We are committed committed to that. And so we provide a lot of support to our students, and we want you all to take advantage of that. Our advisors love getting to know our students and working with them. We also have a different price point and tuition rate than the rest of the university. That's intentional. That's part of our commitment to the greater New Orleans area and surrounding areas. Part of our mission is that we want to provide a Tulane education, make it accessible to our local community, to our neighbors and friends. And so we purposely keep our tuition rate lower than other schools at the university. And then, of course, one of the things that we love to talk about is that our graduates have a Tulane degree. And the value of a Tulane degree is really, we're a top 40 university nationally. We have an international reputation, and our students who go to apply for jobs with a Tulane degree are very well respected and end up having really great outcomes in the workforce. So we will touch on some of those pieces today. Just a little bit more about our online learning at SOPA. Many of our classes are developed to be online, and Halima will talk specifically about her classes in a few minutes. But what that means is that our classes aren't just, think about a class that you would have taken in a traditional classroom and thrown onto PowerPoints. That is not our classes are specifically designed by instructional designers. And that's a word that we know in education, but not all students know. Instructional designers are trained educators. But their area of expertise is that they look at traditional curriculum that is generally taught in a brick and mortar classroom, and they think about ways to translate that curriculum to the online space. And what that means is that they take standard curriculum and traditional curriculum, and they make it interactive. They create opportunities for students to work together, to be engaged, to communicate back and forth, to be able to have experiences where they can raise their hand or have small groups or work collaboratively with each other. There are discussion boards, there are small group projects, and they create opportunities not only for the students to create relationships and get to know each other, but also for the faculty and the students to get to know each other. So it is a very well thought out, engaging, interactive, and rigorous process. So it's not your typical just click through PowerPoints and then answer questions at the end. That's not the experience that you're going to have at Tulane. And we're very proud of that. And we very much want students to understand that before they, enroll in our programs. So some data around our online programs. We've taught over 1,300 students in the online format. That means that they've completed almost 13,000 hours of online coursework. That's a lot of opportunities for them to give us feedback and for us to get better at what we're doing. We have 8 master's degrees, 11 graduate certificates, 4 post-bac certificates, as well as over 300 courses that have all been developed for the online space. And a piece that is really interesting that I want you all to know is that we have over 200 faculty members that are specifically trained on how to teach in this format that we're sort of in right now. So there's the curriculum design piece, which is that courses are designed for you all to be interactive and engaged and meet each other. But also our faculty are trained how to give you all the best experience in the online space. That all adds up to a really incredible experience for you all, the students. So that's important for you all to sort of understand when thinking about schools. So I'm going to actually let Dr. Leek Francis talk a little bit about her faculty and how fantastic they are, and tell you a little bit about the program. And then she'll kick it back to me at some point to talk to you all about the application process. So Dr. Leek Francis.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheila, and thank you everyone for joining us. I'm so happy to see you, and I'm glad that you are interested in the public administration program here at Tulane. So I'm Dr. Halima Leek Francis. I'm the program director of the public administration program, and our program houses the Master of Public Administration degree as well as graduate certificates in various specialized areas, and I'll talk a bit about that a little later on. Myself, before coming to Tulane, I worked in the nonprofit sector for a little over 20 years. So I have extensive experience in nonprofit management, organizational leadership, philanthropy, capacity building, and several of those areas. And our program is designed to really touch on multiple dimensions of the civic sector, and the work that is done in government, in nonprofits, and philanthropy, even in corporate settings around public administration. So we'll talk a bit about that later on. Now, what you see here is our faculty. I love to start with our faculty. They are one of the strengths and crown jewels of our program. They come with various experience across the sector. They've worked in some of the areas that you see here, but they most of all have stood at the forefront of innovation in civic sector work. So as you work with our faculty in your courses, you will get the benefit of their experiences. You'll get the benefit of their networks. You get the benefit of also understanding some of the things that it takes to be successful as you build a career in the civic sector. So our faculty is a very broad-reaching, geographically, ethnically diverse, and skill set and expertise diversity as well for the program. So we're very proud of the faculty that we have. So looking at the Master Public Administration degree overall, you see here our goal and our mission is really to prepare you to be forward-thinking, responsive, thoughtful, and ethical leaders in the public sector. We recognize that our civic sector is diverse and ever-changing, so rooted in our program is this thought towards innovation and change and adaptability, and also relevance as well. So when we designed this program, we really focused on building a program that would position our students to go into the sector and be effective leaders. The program features 12 courses throughout your curriculum or throughout your time in the program. You'll be taking 12 courses focused on applied practice. So you'll be learning skills and knowledge that you can take into the real world, into the workplace, and into your career and immediately apply them. We balance between foundational knowledge and contemporary practice innovations. Our program was one of the first few programs to be developed probably within the last 30 or 40 years, and certainly being built within what we're seeing now in the civic sector, from social justice to the pandemic and multiple other issues. We certainly are able to learn from what we're seeing and put those things into practice and bring those things into the classroom. So you get the opportunity to dig more deeply into some of the things that we see within society and within our communities. And as I shared earlier with our faculty, they bring both their academic qualifications, but they also bring expertise from the field. So they bring together this theory and practice understanding that we found is really helpful and really effective in preparing you to go out into practice or into your careers. So our program was designed, and Sheila touched on this a bit earlier. We were designed to be online even before the pandemic hit. So we came to developing the program, recognizing the opportunities for accessibility and flexibility that online learning presents. I've worked in online education for many years, and I can certainly say that I appreciate the students from wherever they are can participate in our courses. You don't have to necessarily move to New Orleans to be able to benefit from from our program. And it fits within the busy lives that you may have as an adult student. So your personal commitments, your professional commitments. We have tracks for both mid-year, mid and early career professionals. So if you are already established in your career, there are opportunities for you to grow and develop. And then also for students who are early in their careers, we do provide you with that foundational support that does also include internships. We also offer standalone graduate certificates, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Our standalone graduate certificates they offer you specialized expertise in specific areas. We have 4 standalone graduate certificates, and they are in nonprofit and strategic philanthropy, K through 12 education leadership, economic development, and environmental management. Those graduate certificates will stack into the full degree. So if you decide to take the certificate first and then come back and do a full degree, then you can do that. Or you can just do the certificate by itself. And we also offer a concentration in the degree. So there are multiple ways that you can develop and build that specialized expertise. Um, the completion time for the degree is typically 1 to 2 years. So 1 year if you are taking 4 classes or 12 credit hours every fall, summer, and spring, or fall, summer, and spring. If you take 6 credit hours or 2 classes, you should be able to complete the degree within 2 years. So typically our students are completing or on track to complete somewhere between that 1 to 2 year threshold. Certainly, if you don't take 6 credits every semester, or you take 9 credits, you would be able to fall somewhere within that spectrum as well. And we offer classes. We make sure that we schedule our classes so that it does not impede your completion progress. So we're very conscientious about where our students are within their degree program. And when we're determining what classes we offer every semester, we try to make sure that you're able to stay on track to complete in the timeline that you've set out for yourself. So I talked a bit about the concentration areas, and just to kind of dig a little bit more deeply into our degree requirements. You start with our 7 core courses, or well, our foundational courses are 7 core courses, and those include a career-focused capstone. The first course that you will take in the program is our Policy Foundations course. And then we also have other courses that focus on things like equity and diversity, technology, data, cross-sector collaboration. So we try to offer you many opportunities to kind of build that foundational knowledge. Then after you have gone into your core courses and gotten exposure to some of that foundational baseline information, you can go and start taking either your electives or your concentration courses. So electives and concentrations are kind of interchangeable here. And I have listed here the concentration areas that we focus on. And as I mentioned earlier with the concentrations, they do offer you that opportunity to build that specialized knowledge. So you take 4 concentrations and an additional elective. And then at the end of the program, you have a career focused capstone. And the capstone is designed as a consultancy where you actually work on a live project within a live organization. That can be a company that you work for, that can be a setting that we try to help you identify an opportunity in. But you do have the opportunity and the chance to kind of put all of that knowledge that you've been building throughout the program into practice and test it out through your capstone. So we have several experiential components. While our program is primarily online, well, it's fully online with synchronous and asynchronous components, and I'll go into that a little bit more. There are experiential components, so the opportunity to engage in person and working on specific projects that give you experience within the field. One of those experiential components is the applied research capstone, which I just described. We also have required internships for students who don't have experience in the field. And usually we say when students have less than 3 years of experience, there's an internship that we would like for them to complete to build that skill set and to also help build their network. We also have a required residency that's in New Orleans. Typically, the residency is about 3 days long, and we previously had it scheduled for early June of this year, but we elected to cancel it due to the pandemic. So I'll say with the residency, we do plan to offer it in 2022. But for students who are not able to complete the residency, we do accommodate for that. So don't worry if we're not able to do the residency during the time that you're enrolled in the program. First and foremost, we want everyone to be safe, but we do accommodate if it's not possible for us to move forward with that live residency. So the civic sector, oftentimes when people ask me what is public administration, the answer is honestly very broad. Careers, they span government, nonprofits, and private sector. They range from practice fields such as philanthropy officers. You may be an analyst, a public affairs specialist. Here's some of the careers that are listed. Those are some of the things that you can do with this work or with this graduate degree. The big takeaway for public administration or careers that are related to public administration is that we support civic infrastructure. We support the civic sector. So most of the things that you see operationalized throughout your community are undergirded by someone who is working in public administration, whether they be an elected official, whether they be an appointed official, or whether they be a practice professional who is working in this space. Many people who go into public administration, they have an eye towards making change within their communities and making their communities better. Others want to work in areas related to policy. Some want to work in local government. So the answer of what do you do with a degree, a master's of public administration degree, is very versatile and is very diverse. If you have a specialized interest in a field such as public health or social work or even architecture, there is likely an intersection at some point of public administration. So there's projected growth. With that in mind, there's projected growth in the field. This statistic was pre-COVID, 5% nationally and 14% Southeast through the year 2026. I would guess that now that we are seeing some of the things that we're seeing and some of the high need, that this 5% growth and 14% growth is likely much higher now. So there are many opportunities within public administration that this degree will prepare you to go into and be successful. So I talked about our graduate certificates, and as I mentioned, they are stackable, which means that they will translate or go into the full degree pretty seamlessly. So if you elect to take a graduate certificate first, then you can do that and later come back and apply to the full MPA. The certificates are comprised of 4 courses, so that's 12 credit hours, and they offer you a foundation of knowledge in industry practice that you can immediately put into play in your workplace and in your careers. So for students who are kind of looking for that instant jolt or opportunity to build on some specialized knowledge, a certificate is an excellent way to go with that. We do have the economic development and environmental management and resilience certificates that will be launching officially in the fall. We are starting to offer some courses in that in the summer, a little bit earlier, but the certificates officially launch in the fall. So I'll hand it back off to Sheila to talk about student support and success. And I'll say that if you are considering this program seriously, we are very excited to share with you the great things about this program. And the students that I've spoken to, I actually spoke to a couple students before this call. They were sharing with me how much they really enjoy not only working with our instructors, working with our faculty, but how much this program has helped them to take things that they learned in the classroom and apply them to their current careers and prepare them for future career growth. So I will stress to you that this is a practice focused program. We work hard, but we also have a good time in the program, and we learn a lot, and we're really about partnering throughout the civic sector. So I'll hand it off to Sheila.
Thanks, Halima. I appreciate that, and I want to sort of underscore what Dr. Leek Francis said. The School of Professional Advancement, we offer specifically applied degrees, and what applied degrees are is they're different than a theoretical degree, which many degrees are theory based. Our degrees are applied based, which means that they're developed with the current um, professionals in the field to be able to give you skills that you can immediately apply to the current workforce, which means that when you leave with a skill set, as opposed to sort of theoretical knowledge around a topic. And so that's what we do. We train professionals, hence the name of our school. So one of the ways that we do that is by making sure that our students are successful. And our student support and success piece, I briefly touched on. We have faculty advisors or student advisors rather that are available specifically for our students. They are housed at the School of Professional Advancement and only work with our students. And we do that on purpose so that our ratio is low. All of our student advisors are available by email. All of their emails have a link where you can create an appointment with them virtually that day. Many of our, excuse me, many of our faculty members do as well. They're available to students. So if you have questions, if you are struggling in the classroom, or even if you just have a general professional based question, meaning I'm doing this job now, I'm in the MPA, but I'm looking to maybe jump and pivot in this direction, our advisors and our faculty are available to students. That's pretty big in terms of helping students navigate their career. Our faculty are all practitioners in the field. And I too have graduate degrees in an applied degree. So I understand being taught by practitioners, and I am a huge advocate of professors of practice. And what that means is you're being taught by the kinds of people who you want to end up being and who are doing the jobs that you end up wanting to have. So my favorite question when I was a student was we'd be having some sort of conversation and I would raise my hand and say, what does that look like? What does that look like when you are with a client? Or what does that look like when you're working in this industry? And they can share stories of when they have not only worked with the issue that you're talking about that day, but the kind of tips and tricks that they use that they found successful, pitfalls you should avoid. That's the kind of information that is going to help you become successful in this field. So our faculty are there. They often become mentors for our students. And so those are the kinds of relationships that you want to anticipate having when you're in a program like ours. We also have our very own career advisor at the School of Professional Advancement. Her name is Cynthia Washington. She works just with our students, and she will let students know about possible job opportunities that are available. Also, she's available to do mock interviews. If you're applying for a job, she'll look over your resume, help you sort of edit your LinkedIn page, those sorts of things that help raise your professional profile. And of course, Tulane has its own network of peers and graduates. And that is one of those value added pieces that when you're thinking about what is a Tulane degree going to do for me, tapping into that network is big. And you only get that with your own Tulane degree. So we encourage students to sort of think about all these value added pieces. So, one of the things that we offer to our students is what we call the credit for prior learning option. And that means that if you have been working in a nonprofit field, let's say, and you have been a grant writer for many years, if you have that skill set before coming into our program, you do not need to take a grant writing class. This is just an example of a specific skill set and a class that you may have to take. If you come in with a skill set and yet we are offering a class that will teach you something that you already know, you can do what's called credit for prior learning. And you can create a portfolio, which is basically laying out your skill set, having it be compared to the learning objectives of a course, meeting with Dr. Leek Francis and your advisor and saying, I'd like to submit this information to be credited. And if the advisors and Dr. Leek Francis say, yeah, you already know that information, you won't have to take that class. So that does a couple things for you. It speeds along your time towards graduation, and it also saves you money because you don't have to pay for that course. So I encourage, and you can do that for up to 2 courses at the graduate level. So I encourage students, when it comes time to registering for your classes, really look at the courses that you have to take that semester and evaluate whether or not you already come to this program with that knowledge set. And if you do, reach out to Dr. Leek Francis and say, I think I could get credit for prior learning. And if you can, we will happily work with you. So that's something that we like to share with our students. Essentially, you can get up to 6 credits, which is 2 courses, which turns out to be about a $6,000 savings. So take advantage of it. But that leads me into our affordability. So at SOPA, I mentioned that we purposely have a lower price point than the rest of the university. Our tuition rate is it's a little over $1,000 per credit hour this semester. In the fall semester, it moves up to a little over $1,100 per credit hour. Most students take between 3 and 6 credits per semester. That's 1 to 2 classes. So that's anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000 per semester. And we have very low fees associated. I point this out to students all the time. When you are comparing us to other universities, always look into fees. So every university you're going to have little fees. We keep ours at a very nominal rate. There are universities, even in the city of New Orleans, that when you add up their tuition plus the fees, it will almost double the tuition rate. So you'll go from that $3,000 to $6,000 a semester to almost $12,000 a semester once you start adding all those fees on. So I encourage students to look into that. Ours will be pretty much what you have to pay per credit hour, plus another, maybe $200 maybe for the whole semester. Our faculty are very conscientious about not making students pay for books that they don't have to pay for. And that's actually Tulane as a whole does that. I will say our faculty are pretty good about that. If there's a reading that they can upload to your Canvas site, or if there's something that they can share with you all that could be found on the internet, they're not going to make you just go pay for materials that you don't need. So keep that in mind. They try to be conscientious about that. Even with all of that said, we are very aware that going back to school is an investment. It's an investment in yourself, but it is an investment nonetheless. So many of our students do look for financial aid options. We do offer federal grants and loans. We are proudly a member of the Yellow Ribbon Program for our students who are veterans. We are a veteran-friendly school, and we offer 20% discounts for active duty military and veterans, as well as retired safety personnel and current parish employee teachers as well. So in addition to that, we do offer the 6 credits for prior learning, which could also be a savings. So if you are thinking that you may be applying for financial aid, I encourage, just my little tip as the admissions director, start your financial aid paperwork when you start your application. The financial aid paperwork can take several weeks to go through the process, so don't wait till the last minute. Okay, so our application process is intentionally very straightforward. You can reach our application on our website, sopa.tulane.edu. There's a big apply button at the top of the homepage of the website. Click on that. The application portal will open up. We'll need your first name, last name, email address, and your birth date. And then you'll get a PIN number and you're off to the races. Our application is a lot of name, address, phone number. We will need to know everywhere where you have received undergraduate credits, and we will need transcripts from those schools. If you have some sort of graduate credits, also, we would like to know that and get transcripts from those schools. We're going to need you to upload a picture of a current government ID. For most people, that's taking a picture on your phone of your driver's license, uploading that. There is a written portion to this application. So open up the application and get a sense of that written portion. This is what I like to tell students. The written portion serves two functions. We want to know the answers to the questions. So we want to understand sort of why you're interested in this program, what it is you're interested in doing with this degree or certificate, why, what kind of drove you to making the decision to apply. But it's also a written statement. So please take your time and write a really well composed answer to the questions. There is a lot of writing in this program, so we want to make sure that students have strong writing skills. So there's two purposes to those written statements. So be thoughtful and do a really good job when you answer those questions. There is also a $50 application fee, but we actually, as a thank you for spending your time with us today, waive that fee. That's an automatic process. I do always say to students, if you get to that point in the application and it says, please pay your $50, just email me. It's very simple. Just send me an email that says, I attended the webinar. We're keeping attendance, so we know that you've attended. I can very easily look, and to waive your application fee takes like literally 2 seconds. So do not feel like you have to pay that if there's an error on our part, but you should skip that part of the application automatically. So that's really our application process. I do say to students, if you have any questions during the application process, do not be shy to reach out. I sort of philosophically, as a longtime admissions person, I feel like the admissions process is the beginning of our relationship building with our students. So we like to get to know you. We like to get to know the kinds of questions that you have. We end up chatting with students when we're on the phone with them anyway, or through email, just to learn a little bit more about you. So do not be shy. You're not being difficult. We're not putting like a little special note in your file that says, ooh, they asked a question. If anything, we get to know you more. If you already paid the application fee, Travis, send me an email. And I'll refund it for you. I can easily do that. I just saw that pop up on the chat. Okay, so some important application deadlines. Our next admissions term is this summer. So we are taking applications for summer right now. That application deadline is May 15th, but this is what I'm going to tell you. Do not wait till May 15th to get your application in. Get it in as soon as possible. For a lot of reasons. A, we read applications on a rolling basis. So the sooner you get it in, the sooner you get your admissions decision. The other thing is that as an incentive to get students to apply early, if you get your application in early, are accepted, and register for classes by May 1. So get it all in now, and you have plenty of time. It's the beginning of February. If you register for summer classes by May 1, we will automatically give everybody who registers, new students who register by May 1, a $500 scholarship. That's literally a $500 deduction towards your first semester of tuition. We just give that to you because we want you to get your applications in early, and we want you to come and have an easy first semester. So that like covers books and some other stuff. So go ahead and do it. It's money that we're giving you. So we hope that you'll take us up on that. The same thing works for the other semesters. For those of you who are thinking of applying for fall, August 1st is our deadline. But if you apply way earlier than that and register for classes by June 1 as a fall start enrollee, you will get the $500 scholarship. And then for somebody who's thinking way ahead of time to a year from now for spring, if you apply apply and register by December 1st, then you'll get that $500 scholarship. So go ahead and get your stuff in. We want to hear from you. And if you have any questions along the way, let us know.
And I want to add to the application deadlines. For this program, it's really, really important that you apply and enroll or sooner rather than later for multiple reasons, but one being that sometimes our cohorts fill up quickly, and they have for the past few semesters. And then also oftentimes the courses, they start, they start at the semester start, but they hit the ground running. So immediately the first week of class, there's significant work that takes place. So it's important that you apply, get your decision, and enroll in classes as soon as possible so that you can be well positioned to be successful and set up in the programs. And then also maybe have the opportunity to kind of preview the classes before you start as well. So that's really important. I see we have a question. No, I'm on mute. We have a question here from LaRonda, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Upon completing my degree at SOPA, my goal is to switch careers that are more on a federal or state level. My two questions are, what kind of job placement assistance and opportunities do you offer? And what types of employers do you currently have partnerships with to help graduates? So in terms of job placement assistance, Cynthia Washington works in our career services, but we also help students from program side to expand your networks. Oftentimes in this field, career opportunities come through networks and special projects that you work on. So we really work to make sure that you have those high quality interactions with potential employers that will not only expose you to opportunities and individuals who are decision makers, but also boost your resume and your credentials so that you can present work that you've actually done that is relevant to career. Partners that we have a host of partners, including individuals who are on our advisory boards. So on our industry advisory board, we have Andy Copland, who's at Greater New Orleans Foundation. We have Michael Hecht at GNO Inc. We have an individual who is out of Detroit who used to work with the Kresge Foundation. So we have a host of partners in that regard. We also have worked with local government in shaping this curriculum. So depending on your interest, we likely know someone who is in local government who we can kind of connect you to help kind of move those things along. Also, our faculty, we have, again, faculty who have ranged from positions such as former mayors to executives within nonprofits, so and also in other leadership positions, public sector positions. So again, with the career element, that largely comes through networking and connecting you with the most relevant opportunities. The residency, there's a question about the residency. How long is that, and is it required to attend in New Orleans? It's a 3-day residency. As it stands, yes, it is required pending COVID. So right now we are scheduling it for the 2022 if we're able to. If not, we'll make plans to waive it and figure that out. Recording of the Zoom session. Yes, it is accessible. Sheila, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it posted on our YouTube channel or social media somewhere?
So we will be sending you all a follow-up email thanking you for coming to this webinar, and that there will be a link to this recorded webinar, so you can share it with a friend if you want, or you could rewatch it. All this information is in it, and actually we would love it if you rewatch it because we send that to everybody, and I never know if they do rewatch it. So I love that you asked that question.
Great. Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So and thank you, Dr. Lake Francis. I know you were kind of talking to me offline. So for the graduate certificate, as I was saying, I'm currently in my dissertation process and I'm making a career pivot. And so that's what brought me here. Is it going to be full-time enrollment, or are you able to take 6 units of it one semester and then 6 the following, or?
You can do part-time or full-time.
Okay.
So that, given that you are working on your dissertation, it may be more feasible to take one class,
Right.
just depending on where you are and how you're feeling. But we do have ultimate flexibility with that.
Okay. Well, okay. I was wondering that. Yes, I was thinking that too. Maybe 3 units for a few terms would be best. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We have another question about the concentration. You can have more than one concentration. That would be multiple classes, or you can kind of do a combination or like a hybrid. So we could work together on your concentration to determine what classes make the most sense for you. We do have a lot of flexibility with that, though. Capstone, it's a consultancy project. So what you do is you assess an issue or a problem within a particular organization, and you develop a strategic plan working with them to address the issue. So they may determine that they are trying to increase community partnerships. So you may do a community assessment with them in partnership and collaboration, and then produce a report that outlines a series of recommendations and also an implementation plan and other elements. So yes, a full thesis and a report is a part of it. Other questions?
I do. I apologize.
No, don't apologize. You're fine.
I took note of the 2 application deadlines for fall and spring. Could you remind me of the priority deadline for summer?
Sheila, what was that?
Not off the top of my head. Anne, can you go back to that slide?
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much.
May 1. Yeah.
Thank you.
And spring is December 1st. And these are also on our website. So if you have any questions, you can certainly there on our website under the admissions tab. It says important deadlines.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining. Here is my contact information. If any questions pop up after this session, I am very accessible to prospective students. Oh, Travis, it looks like you have a question.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry to cut you off as you was ending. It's about the residency. Since I already live in New Orleans, how does the residency affect those who live in the city already?
Well, you would attend, so the residency, and forgive me, thank you for bringing this up. The residency involves a series of workshops and events that we hold that support you networking and connecting. So you would just come to those events. So you wouldn't have to go anywhere different than New Orleans, but you would just attend those events and those things that we host that are around the residency.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're very welcome. Yes. These are all great questions, and I'm so glad that you all are asking questions, because that means that you're paying attention and you're being thoughtful and thinking about this. So thank you. But if any questions come up after we log off, or as you wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking about joining the MPA program, feel free to email me. I will not probably respond in the middle of the night, but I will respond shortly. And I'm happy to meet offline to talk about any questions that you might have. So thank you all for joining, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
You.
Thank you.